You're our biggest guest. You know that?
Am I?
You're the most frequent, yeah.
Oh, wow. That's
You
an
should
honor.
feel honored.
I am honored. I am. I miss this podcast when I listen in. The recent one I listened to was the painter guy. That was pretty good. And then
Did you know him growing up too?
No. And then Mikey, I listened to that guy. Since it's changed to the No Prisoners podcast.
Yes, new name.
It's official. You have to respect it.
Which I looked around here, and there's no one held captive. So I was like, all right, they're true to their name. These guys are good guys. You're not keeping anybody in the attic. Anyways, yeah. And then the photographer guy, and then the dude that I really enjoyed was, they were all good, but the guy that owned the barbershop business, he was kind of the man. I got done listening.
Nicky?
Yeah, I was like, this guy's like, he seemed like he had a really good foundation for how he operated his life. And I kind of took some things away from that podcast, in my own position, just trying to be more neutral. Because I tend to get I'll get a little spirited. And I'll be like, why aren't we doing things this way? And, you kind of have to, you can't, and he was mentioning politics, right?
Yeah.
And he's like, you're going to be scaring people off with attitudes like this, or, that's how he looked at it. And then I was like, but people do that even with their behaviors, right? So even if your opinion isn't necessarily right or left on, and that's how I felt. I was getting, I get worked up where I get a little bit boisterous, and then you're like, what are you going to do? You're just going to be the guy.
The milk goes on the left side of the refrigerator.
You can't do that in the corporate world because they look at you like, this guy can't keep his head. You know what I mean? But I'm, we're the people trying to solve the problem. So it's we need attention. We need things to work. I don't know. There's so much bureaucracy in corporate world.
Fucking sucks.
I think maybe you just care.
I care for sure. I mean,
you care, and then you're around people that might not care as much as you, or they don't care as much as you at the time you care. So if you hit a hard minute of caring, and nobody cares around you, and you're like, what? Yeah. Nobody is listening to me right now.
Friday afternoon, 4:00, Dave's bringing up some deep, heavy shit, and they're like, yo, man, we're out of here.
Oh, man, I work. I'll log in, because we have our computers at home with us now. I'll log in Sunday night and just start getting my brain, I'm like, all right, what did I leave on? I'll take little notes, and then on Friday, and then on Sunday night I'll start reviewing. And sometimes I'll start doing a little bit of programming and figuring out, because I have a lot of, we're doing the same thing all the time. We're opening files, and we're closing files, and we're making spreadsheets, and all that code I've done a million times. So I just take a code from a separate project, and what you do is you redefine your variables. So it's a way to explain it, but imagine you have a tool that can do a tool, and then you just change out the drill bits, right? Yeah. So you have a and that does a job.
Yeah.
So anyways, but it's I like working. I'm at that age now where it's you just embrace it,
What else are you gonna do? Fuck around? Yeah,
you gotta be diligent. You got to have some sort of motivation every morning, and you got to, and I care, but I definitely am surrounded by people that care, but at certain points, it's I wish we could break through all that red tape, all that compliance. It's not, it's necessary, but some of the stuff is just gratuitous or superfluous, if you will. What the OCC does with all these audit trails, and you have to have copies of reports every single day. I'm we don't need this. We can generate this from the back end, but okay, I'll save, they're well, we need this Excel file there. I'm okay, whatever. I got it. We need this because someone comes in and says, oh, where are your files? Where are you keeping all your stuff? And that's internal audit. And then the OCC comes through, and they're like, where are you keeping all the stuff of the stuff? And you're like, and, drive down to Washington, D.C., you see these huge buildings. I was down there seeing Louis C.K. right before the pandemic. And there's a big-ass building. There's beautiful office buildings, and I look at the side, and it says OCC, Office of the Comptroller, Currency Comptroller. And I'm like, that's where the motherfuckers from work.
That's where they're keeping all the files.
Where are you keeping all the files at?
Yeah.
Walk in there. I'm here for the files.
I'm here for the files. Anyways.
You're definitely on a watch list now, because they're anything happens to that building, you're the guy now.
Just say for the record, I want nothing to do with that. Dude, I don't know what it was, but the marketing hit me hard. I'm not one to fall to advertisements, but Wendy's hit me with that chicken jalapeno sandwich. Did you see that shit? And I was like, God damn it, Wendy's.
Did you have a Diet Cookie Coke with that?
No, but everybody's offering you cookies. You're like,
no, Coke, Diet Coke. What do you call it?
You say
Diet Coke. I think I had a regular Coke, John. But here's what happened. Here's what happened last night. I got done work. Went to I think I worked out earlier, so I took a walk, and I got real hungry. I was like, I'm gonna not eat past 8 tomorrow or 6 tomorrow. I'm be good. And then I got real hungry, and then
so like tomorrow was today, or like you said yesterday you weren't supposed to eat past 6.
Yesterday I wasn't supposed to eat past 6 of yesterday. So
but you worked out.
Yeah, I was hungry. And earlier that day, I saw the advertisement for the new chicken sandwich at Wendy's, and I was like, oh, my God. It's like a fried chicken sandwich. It's the jalapeno popper chicken sandwich. I was like, Wendy's, you had me a chicken sandwich new. I was like, and then you got to hit me with the jalapeno popper. So I was like, all right, I'm driving around. I'm like, all right, I'll get some Wendy's. But I was like, I'll make up for this tomorrow, because that's like my internal monologue. By the way, he's slimmed down quite a bit, right?
Yeah, he's already down like 15.
He's like, yeah, I'm day 21 on the 70-day 5-day challenge. I was like, oh, that's cool. And he was like, yeah, I gotta work out twice a day. I'm like, that's pretty doable. He's like, drink a gallon of water. I'm like, yeah. He's like, I gotta read books. I'm like, nah. You lost me at books. But I do like books. Let it be known. Do we have a favorite? Do you guys like book? Do you have a favorite book like growing up? There's one sit with you. Andrew's probably like The Art of War by Sun Tzu.
Like The Art of Seven Rings by Miyamoto Masashi.
I feel like you would read stuff like.
I think books that impacted me in probably Freakonomics.
Yeah,
was a good book for me. That kind of solidified how that was like the first book for me that I read that kind of made it okay to think how I already thought. So when I read that book and how they broke the analysis down and everything was very data driven and they would come out to these very objective outcomes or rationale based on information, and I'd be like, oh wow, this is so amazing. People do this? Other people do this? Because sometimes I feel like the world just takes information, they make it what they need it to be, and then they come to some sort of rationale, baseless rationale. And I read this book. I probably read this later in high school.
Okay.
So I was having trouble just being like, I just want to do data. I just want to be why am I having a hard time explaining myself to you? You're just not getting me. And then I read that, and it explained how people are incentivized, and everybody can pretty much be predicted, and their actions can kind of be predicted or governed based upon what incentives are in their environment. So there was that. I liked. We were talking about Lords of Finance earlier. I read a book, Lords of Finance, which pretty much is the most difficult book I've ever read, or probably ever will. You need take notes while you read this book.
You're surprisingly, well, not surprisingly, but you're pretty well versed in that stuff. I went to school for it, so I know enough. But then I feel like you're in realms that you understand things. And I'm like, I don't really understand that, but. So it's impressive.
Like finance?
Yeah, I just don't.
Yeah, I find people that I went to college for, or went to college with, and then they have jobs in CMPQ management or risk management or some sort of financial thing, and you'll start talking to them, and they'll try and talk stocks or trading, or they'll try and do that, and you realize people don't really understand finance, even though you've gone to school and you say I have a finance degree. You still kind of need to kind of commit to really diving into that to a certain degree to kind of understand what that next level. I'm not talking about personal finances. There's a whole world of money out there that people just don't even know exists.
The problem is they teach you in school, and then you never apply it in the real life. So it just sits on sheets of paper. And as soon as you can apply finance or complex algorithms of how a bank looks at a deal and underwrites it, or how a company can borrow money at low interest rates with different programs, and try to figure out valuations of properties and like real estate and stuff.
Well, not even on that's
but when you
thing,
I mean, like when you I guess you're talking about like government finance or.
Well, I'm saying like you have it at that level where you have banks, and then you have like our level, which is building, and then you also have our level where we're, for After Five Media, we're setting budgets and talking about, sometimes we're talking about things that Jonathan and I don't understand in terms of technology. And if it wasn't for that our understanding of finance and time and like time valuation and all of that really, really well, we wouldn't be able to go into other businesses that we don't really know that much about and have the ability to learn about those businesses while simultaneously governing that very important aspect, which is, the money. So the books,
you have to apply it.
The books
before you can understand it.
The books are key.
One thing in general, like last time I was talking to you, we were talking about like margin trading, and I understood the concept of margin trading, but I didn't know it in and out to be comfortable with margin trading, right? Because I'll do options trading, but I sell puts and generate income that way. So if I get
in the money options though,
what I do is I sell puts. So if the stock's at like 135, I'll sell a put at like 133, right? So if you sell like 6 contracts at 133, you'll have to pay 100. It's like 600 shares times 133 if you get put. So you gotta have that cash available. But if it expires in a week, and you can get, I was getting like $700 to $800 in premium off that.
Yeah, because if it goes up and you don't have to, your contract doesn't get called in.
Right. So
you make that spread.
I make the spread, and I make the spread anyways. But
you can get hurt hard with that, because if you don't have
forced to buy,
if you get forced to buy your contract, and if you don't have the money for all that,
I always
that's like,
have the money. Always have to have the money. Cash covered puts. Cash covered puts.
You don't margin.
No. I forget who I was talking. I think it was our friend Richie, who we've been trying to have back on, because I think tonight was his first or his 1 year anniversary of being on the show, or last week was maybe. And he got into stock trading, as a lot of people have this year, I think, with maybe the downtime or variety of reasons. And it's great to like listen to people and their excitement about the opportunity.
I think they're all going to lose their money.
But it's so like I have it within, like I don't really do this, but I know what the outcome is. Normally, I'm not saying people can't make money, but like I talk to individuals, and we're having these very honest conversations, but sometimes it gets like newbies? Not honest, because at a certain point I can't be like, you're really, really not, you're going into waters, or you're doing things. You really have to, I think it's a craft. You can't just like hop on the stock trading, just like you can't just hop into home building. You have to respect the amount of time that certain people have put into learning that field, for sure.
I always say, I have cousins and family that ask me, like, what's good to buy? I'm like, what are you using? An iPhone? Buy Apple. What are you using? A computer? Like, who makes your car? I like big tech companies, because I've been watching the market and trading since like 2010. When I was younger, I was an idiot. I would buy like Sirius XM, and it'd go up like, a couple bucks, and I make like $200. I'm like, oh my God, sell. I should have been
4 years later, and it's quadrupled.
Well, I should have been buying, these companies solidly over since 2010 to now. So you just bank money into solid companies with big cash balances. Because as a stockholder, you're the last person to get paid. It's not, you don't want to be a stockholder in a company that's like,
it's equity.
Yeah.
Well, that's the first, I would say, when people are getting into trading stocks, which is awesome. The first step, I would say, it would be dedicating time to reading about companies. I spend a tremendous amount of time just reading about companies and what companies are doing and what their people that work at there are doing.
Yeah.
And if you're just watching YouTube and taking whatever tidbit, isn't like when you're standing by the water cooler at your office in the morning and somebody comes in, I just XLM 721, I just made a bunch of money off that stuff. And you're like, I'm going to go buy that when you hit back your cubicle. That's not what you
people love to talk like that, and I feel like a lot of people on the retail side are doing that.
But you have to realize,
you know how
that
much liquidity has been created
there, fugazis,
or they manipulate the market so they get a bunch, like the people on Reddit. I think the people behind the Reddit were professionals, and they knew exactly what they were doing to get that stock to shoot up, and they made a shitload of money, got out, and then it became this whole chaotic thing. I think there was professionals intermixed into the amateurs.
The guys that headed that up were like ex-hedge fund guys.
That's what I'm saying. They knew exactly what was going on.
Which is strange because, like, it's market manipulation, but it's not illegal.
Well, same thing that Dave Portnoy did at Barstool.
Well, there's a lot of like behind the scenes reasons for like that whole like Reddit thing.
Yeah,
there was a lot of benefits that I read about like 2 weeks or 3 weeks after.
Yeah,
that certain banks or institutions received from that whole influx that people didn't really necessarily consider. So a lot of those institutions that were negatively affected because of the way they were structured with financing and investment, they actually kind of benefited from that mini rally in a way.
I'm sure they might have got on board too.
Well,
the initial shock was probably very expensive for some people, especially that one fund that was like in basically the bad position on GameStop to begin with. They had borrowed more shares than were available. Right, they over.
Well, I think overall, like you take all the institutional.
I don't even
investors,
understand how that you could. I mean,
they borrowed more shares than were outstanding.
Right, but like we have all these, like every time there's a financial collapse or something financial problem, they introduce this legislation that's supposed to like introduce all these regulations, and then these fucking guys.
So imagine you're doing like a home renovation, right? I think what happens there is you can actually borrow like additional costs into that, and then it's structured as shares. So what you see is borrowing shares outside.
Bottom line, if this is the effect of that practice, why is that practice still? You know what I mean?
If you're building a house with a bank loan, do you not want a contingency on your financing? What if things cost a little bit more and the contractor comes back to you and says, "Hey, Dave, we need $200,000 more from you for all these extra things that we ran into." And the bank's like, "Well, Dave, you didn't sign on the contingency line," and Dave doesn't have $200,000.
Got that, but
so that happens in the finance when they structure those all of those deals are set up just the way any other deal. I get that,
but it should be like. Here's what I think, like. So like bottom line is that practice that leads to that. If a byproduct of that particular practice is this destructive over leveraged situation, then that shouldn't be allowed. But what I really think is it was a bunch of like hullabaloo because at the same time it's like but
they wouldn't consider it over leveraged if the bank that was also involved in the leverage was anticipating a hostile takeover or a buyout or a corporate restructuring. So if that bank was involved in that behind-the-scenes negotiating, which isn't necessarily illegal, and they were saying, "Hey, you know what? We'll front you this extra money. We'll write it in terms of extra shares because that's the units we're operating in here. And, if there's extra $400,000 of legal fees, we're covered when we do the restructuring."
But on the short sale side?
Because why not?
Yeah.
Well, assuming that's all...
Because the short sale is just all the short sale is on their side at that higher echelon is, I own your company now. Well, so if I short sale short sale on that level and it does go down to zero, I just own all your proprietary information. I own all your machinery. I own all your
understood.
assets.
But they borrowed more shares than were more shares than were outstanding. So there has to be
takeover.
There has to be a metrics where if you have 1 million shares, you can't borrow more than 1 million shares.
But I think
because if it goes down,
but I'm just saying that those extra shares were just units of measure.
I think
they're not saying that they're actually in the cap.
I think what it was short selling was designed when they didn't have computers and instantaneous trades
or algorithms.
They didn't have algorithms, and
so they couldn't be.
So like if you were in Chicago in 1915 and I was in New York, and you're like, dude, I want to sell.
Right, the data wouldn't even be available for you to know that you were over leveraged. In the
Correct.
First place.
I want to sell 5 shares of IBM or whatever's back in not IBM. I want to sell 5 shares of Wells Fargo because I own it, but I haven't gotten my shares yet from New York. But I want to sell it, whatever year.
Oh, because I was going to say if it was a certain year, IBM was building computers for the.
No, I'm talking about like let's say Wells Fargo. If I was in New York or Chicago and I bought 5 shares of Wells Fargo, and that something happened to that stock, and I had to sell it before I actually received the stock paper shares, I would have to sell short of my shares knowing that I was going to buy against it
5 shares.
because there was a time difference for the trains. That was where short selling came from. They've just haven't updated the fucking rules since 1915.
Gomer should make a clip of John talking and then like zooming in on him in like math equations. Like, just like random hieroglyphics. And then there was the short selling.
But they haven't.
Nobody understands
just like the the filibuster.
They bring up the Nazis.
What is the filibuster where they can get up and just bullshit?
No,
not the filibuster.
The filibuster is where they can prevent a vote on the floor if they have X number of people voting against it. The filibuster is really there for appointments of government. So if they don't want to bring a vote to the floor, they can filibuster it. And to overdo a filibuster, you need 60% of the Senate to do that. People think the filibuster is where someone stands up there and just talks.
No, it's not.
It's not. It's not calling something to the floor that the committee doesn't want to call.
It's the ultimate shut up, bitch move by politicians.
So the whole filibuster had happened when you have.
All right, so give me an example and make it make sense.
All right, Department of Defense gets nominated to take a vote, right? You need to approve him with 60%, I think it is, of the vote to get approved through the Senate. Okay? If they filibuster him, I'm losing it. I'm losing it.
Do it? You want me to do it?
Yeah, you do it.
You had one job.
I had it. I got it explained to me the other day. I had it. I lost it.
You're like, okay, so
say there's
so the sea turtle.
I'll go to an easier argument. We said Defense Department was getting nominated. We just lost.
Like
we went down.
This is a great start.
It's a cabinet member.
Like Iron Man doesn't wear pants. Okay, you got to remember that. It's pivotal in about a minute and a half.
I used Iron Man and like the whole Marvel team in like an effort to hire someone the other day. I was like, you could be whatever Marvel character.
My God.
He did.
So
you want to be Captain America? That's okay.
Dude, whatever you want.
You want to come in wearing a dress? I'll wear a dress too.
I'll buy you the costume. Anyway, the filibuster. Say there was like gun legislation, and gun legislation wasn't as, everybody was very one-sided on it. One side could pick up and say, we're going to organize enough of these politicians to filibuster so that when you, David Hermes, senator of whatever state, wants to bring in said legislation, the filibuster takes place and you just go back to your desk.
So if you know you're going to lose something, if there's a bill that's being introduced and it's Democrats, Republicans, and Democrats are really for it, the Republicans would filibuster, meaning they would gather enough people to vote against it. And
right off the bat, there's so many people that are against it. We don't even give a shit what you have to say. Get out of here. We don't care. But
Gilmore, how did I do that in 5 seconds?
But this could be good. This could be good for you though, because what ends up happening in modern day, back in the day, all you had was the newspapers and the news media that were like the people that were in the room. Now you have the news media. So if you get filibustered against, everybody in the fucking world knows about it. And then if your cause is incendiary enough, the whole population rallies behind you. Next thing you know, our filibuster, our block to keep you shut up, all of a sudden gives you a voice. And so it is a danger. You can't just filibuster on people because you don't feel
so
like
you have to gather the votes.
If I didn't agree with, like, if we were all going out to dinner and like John's like, we got to go somewhere healthy because I'm on that 75-day diet. I'm like, no, I'm filibustering. We're going to Chili's.
But you would have to.
I'm going to get 6 other people together.
You would have to hold the floor
right off
and speak while the votes are getting collected in the back. You can't give up the floor.
So
while you filibuster.
Correct.
Okay, I got to filibuster about Chili's while making a cell phone
call. While you're talking on the floor, there was a famous filibuster back in the there's a famous filibuster back in whatever where they had to
80% history here.
Again, one guy talked for 3 days straight.
Well, John reads books now, so he's like, I want to tell you about my books.
He talked for 2 or 3 days straight while they had to go find people to vote against it and threaten the filibuster.
Dude.
But if he gives up the floor, then the committee can then move it to a vote of who's president. If they have a quorum, it can pass.
All right, I'll Wikipedia it. I think I know what it is, but I got to get like...
That was definitely 80% accurate.
I'll consult the, what's it called? The internet of things. Anyways.
Shit. That was deep.
It was deep.
You know what? Here.
So what are we all like, yeah, I would like to try that.
Wait, I kind of want to try it too.
What, so what are we like concerned about?
Let me at least pour it for you.
Yeah, sorry, I'll just give it to you there. There you go.
You know what I'm concerned about?
So, Dave, back to stock trading.
Clashing fashions.
Dave, you're a fashion guy, and you've kind of inspired me because, like, I don't give a well, not that I don't give a shit what I wear.
Somebody tried to start shit with me this morning about wearing Adidas sneakers, and
dude,
Nike,
you were wearing Adidas sneakers
and Nike shorts.
Oh, you're doing that?
Wow.
Oh, get the fuck out of here.
I think I'm good.
I'll
see you guys.
I'll come over that.
It's ridiculous.
I got Nike socks on, bro. I got Nike socks on.
All those computers and shit between me and you right now.
Nah, fuck that. I'm running,
these short
bro.
shorts. I will
fly over there.
Running,
do you know what he called the guy that called him out? You know how think of how Andrew. No, let's let him guess.
The F word. The F
No,
word.
how do you think
was an
Andrew?
F word.
It was an F word.
Let's set it up. Andrew's in the locker room.
Wait, be careful here.
He's tying his shoes. Probably balls are sticking out of his short
slip-ons.
Balls out.
Balls out, and an old guy or a guy walks up to him that he's known that he's busted his balls.
Hey, working, jerking, lurking, man.
Exactly, and he goes, "Yo, man, you wearing those Adidas Nike combo? What a loser!" What do you think Andrew hit him with?
He was like, "You're a loser."
Is that what I sound like?
No, but I had to caricature.
I was just like, "You're fat."
Nice.
Oh, nice.
Where were you when this
I just
happened?
dusted off and walked out of the locker room. I was at the gym.
Oh yeah.
You can talk shit to me.
You're fat.
Some people, shape.
But you know how some people do that as like a segue. It's like a very odd segue. You're like, they'll like make fun of you, just like start a conversation. You're like, there's a million other ways to do that.
Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah, that's me.
No, wait, no, but there's
no, but
good
he
ways
might
of
have been doing
that.
He would have been like, oh, I'm gonna, like kind of. Some people have that.
Not this guy.
I guess it depends if you know the person.
What do you look like? You see him at the gym?
Oh, I know this guy.
Is he a lurker? You got to be careful of those dude lurkers.
I gotta lurk around you, bro.
I'll tell you
Go
what.
in the parking lot, he's lurking behind you.
Dude, that gym is full of the dude lurkers. They're looking for dudes.
There's a fair amount of of lurking. There is a new lurky type fellow there. He's taller, he's skinnier. A few of us have taken notice.
Does he work out or fake workout?
Oh, he like works out, but he's always like, I'm like, what the fuck?
He's like looking around while he's working.
Yeah, he's like looking too much.
Yeah.
Looking too much in this again.
Eyes are up here, buddy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know?
I hate when you're working out and you're like, let's say you're on a shoulder press machine and the person directly across from you is also working out and you're looking at each other. Like
you're
not
that.
You're not looking at them. You're not looking at them, but you're looking right over their head. And you're like, don't look at me. Don't fucking look at me.
I go the complete opposite route. I'll blow kisses.
Yeah.
I'll wink at him.
Oh, damn, that's crazy. I don't know. If someone did it to me, I wouldn't know what to do. I'm like, you got me, dude.
I hate it.
I'm a big communicator in the gym. I'm like, you need that machine? I was like, you guys can take it. I'm working in. Just let me work back in. Like some people you'll be like, oh man, can I grab a set?
Are you done here?
Like, I got 4 more sets of 15. I'm like, yeah, but we're all like, everybody's here. Like
you gotta rest. You're resting on the
Yo, what's your style of workout? There's a few different like observations I've had recently of like people working out. The women love working out legs. Like I would say, to be honest with you, to be fair, if you compared men to women's workouts at the time that I work out, women work out way harder than guys do it at that hour. There is business women or women getting ready to take care of their kids. So they got, it's time to get this workout done and get home.
Oh, yeah.
But they definitely are preferential to leg workouts. And there's a lot of like these like,
what the
how do I
is
put
that?
flops?
What do I
call
say?
them flops.
It's Duncan.
Goodbye arms.
Oh.
It's like
Rabbit
It's for
bellies.
the shoulder, right?
goodbye.
These things?
No, it's like the flap
Oh,
underneath the arm.
that's
It's just like goodbye.
People get old, and that's what I mean.
No,
you don't keep up with yourself.
No. People are old someday.
A lot of
people do
women
get old, but people have
A lot of women don't
before
work
they're
their
old.
triceps though too.
That's what I'm saying. We need to put the tricep machine next to the booty builder.
Oh, is that why you posted?
That's why.
That's why I mentioned that.
No one
earlier.
understood it till
Yeah,
now.
Yeah, I was like,
you
I don't. Okay, cool.
Andrew,
Cool
you got to
idea.
put some context to that because I'm reading it and I'm like, what is this?
Yeah.
I'm like, this
group
guy's
chat,
got to be
just
careful.
Yeah, I was like, wait a minute. Does that mean he wants to do his traps while he's watching someone like?
That's
do
what
his
I was
TV?
thinking.
That's
I'm
what I
like-
was thinking. I was like, oh, he wants to
I
work
was
on
like,
his
I
traps.
agree with you, but I'm not going to say it.
Dude, cancel.
Oh wait, so I'm watching booties while I'm doing triceps.
Yeah,
cancel,
that's
cancel.
That's what we all threw up.
Oh, you know what?
Your
though?
dog
But look
texted
at
me.
these
He's like,
triceps.
Nah,
did you
you're
see Andrew's
canceled, bro. You're
Instagram
fucking
post?
canceled.
I was like, you can
can't
text her a
cancel me.
dog. He's like, yeah, don't tell Andrew.
Yeah, dude,
I have my own phone.
That's why my triceps are so yoked because the tricep machine is just within view. Wish it was closer. But I was just mentioning,
I run
a little bit more. That and there's the people doing the half curls.
Yeah,
You ever notice
well,
that?
there's-
Yeah, what's
everybody
that?
does their own thing.
Unless they're super
People are just
tired
like,
and not
it's
full
like the dude
extension.
sits down.
There's
It's just
this-
like, it's like, what are you doing?
This chick at my gym, she used to. The only thing she did was she'd wear a bag suit. She would get on an elliptical, walk for like 40 minutes, and then go sit in the sauna for like 25 minutes. Go back on the elliptical and just do that like throughout the evening. And she was
It's a
like,
long workout.
it was, dude. All she wanted to do was just. I'm like, you're gonna turn into a raisin. It was very
You
strange.
said this when you were like, "Can I work in on the sweat?
No, I didn't. But she would always be in the sauna.
Did you
so
clean
she
that
would be-
machine?
Can I get in
Fucking
that bag?"
manager of the gym.
Do you clean the machine every time you leave a machine?
No,
I fucking hate
unless
that.
I have I get sweat on it.
That's what I'm saying. So if
Yeah,
you're
if I
working
really
out and
dose
you're
it,
not
yeah.
sweating,
Yeah.
why do you gotta
Early
clean
on
the
in my
machine?
workout, I probably
I get looked at.
But
funny.
I run a lot, so I'll give the butter wipe. I don't care about my arms.
Dude, I locked eyes with a kid this morning where there's like stalls over this way and toilet shit is over this way. Kid walks out of the shitter and just straight back and I locked eyes with him and he walked out and he came back to wash his hands. Because like the amount I didn't even know what I had just gotten there and he just like popped out. We when you're like, we're America, so I drive on the right, you drive on the right.
Right.
We had a weird interaction.
yeah. When people
I'm supposed to be on the fucking right. You go this way.
That's a
But I
whole
locked
thing.
eyes, and my eyes said, "You just shit and didn't wash your hands." And then he thought he'd go away, and I didn't even say anything. He came back. I was washing my hands since urinating, and then he comes back.
Two huge points. The people that do that, because there's people that do that, and if I shit,
I don't
I wash
care
my hands.
particularly. I care
if I
'cause it's at
pee,
the gym.
I pee. I don't wash my hands.
I don't either.
Like if you see me take a piss and then come out and reach in that bag that we're all having Doritos
There's
from,
science behind
know that I probably didn't wash my hands.
There's science behind that. Like a man peed out in the woods for generations. It's fine.
And built America.
America
was built on unwashed
I just
piss
wanted to
hands.
put the cap
America
on it.
was built on.
But the other thing
unwashed
you
hands.
touched on was
That's
when
great.
people are walking just in normal, like when we're walking, not using cars, when people don't follow like the kind of pattern that a car would follow, like I'm on the right if I'm going this way and you're on the left.
We've
like,
talked about
I'm
this
like,
before. It's infuriating.
It's
American.
just I always like wait to correct. I'm
I
like,
cut people off.
I'll
when I
like
walk.
dive to the right. I'll be like, this is what I got. I'll take the first move because you know what it is. It's somebody doesn't take the first move. And if I learned anything from Mighty Ducks franchise, you got to make the first move, Conway.
You know what I'm saying?
You remember that when he goes to
You
Triple
know
D?
what I'm saying?
Way to make the first move, Conway.
Let's
Bash
go.
Brothers, dude.
The
That movie got me so hyped. I was like 10. I didn't know what I was hyped for, but I was hyped.
Fucking ran through a wall.
Yeah, I was like, Mom, I'm gonna eat all the Golden Crisp. He's like, okay. Plus, I played a lot of street hockey growing up, so like every day on my block, there when my brother and I would get home from school, like all the kids up the block you'd see them turn the corner. There was like 10 of them, like 8 or 10 of them with a net because we had a net, so we put the nets together, 2 goalies, like 5-on-5 games.
Yeah, I imagine this Braveheart scenario where the other kids are coming down the street with their net and you guys are coming up the street.
It was awesome.
Alex
man.
is jacked, but he's young.
Alex was a rough kid, man. He was a couple years younger than us, and we would play street hockey with kids that were older than us by like 2 or 3 years. And I remember Alex would get in fights with these kids and like fist fights. Like he would get his ass kicked, but he was little. But he had no fear, and like he's like you got to have a no fear attitude when you play like rough sports. So when he started playing football in high school and college, it was like I would watch his games. I'm like, God damn, like what's that like? And he's like, he was telling me he had a game where he had a lineman step on his foot, and he thought his foot was broken, but he's like, if you go out, you don't know when you're coming back in. So, like, you don't go out. Like, if it's going to be painful. Like, you hit in the elbow. I jammed fingers, broken toes. Like, my foot felt like it was broken, ripped my AC joint. Like, that game is crazy. Crazy. And, like, he was good. He made the Bucks County All-Star team. So, like, they have that game at the end of the year at Neshaminy. And you get on the field with these guys, even the little ones are huge. Because I'm, like, 5'8". I tell the ladies I'm 6'2". But I'm like I'm watching the game. Even the skinny guys, you get up next to them, they're like fucking huge high schoolers. You're like, Jesus, this sport is like reserved for the
specimen.
Yeah,
the stock.
I would love to go see an NFL game up close because I think that, like we were talking earlier, like professional sports, how locked in, dialed in, and incredibly strong and good at their craft they are is insane. Like you watch that up close, it's like, wow, this is what we worship as a culture. This is very like Grecian. These guys are, gods.
Yeah, except for golf, they're not very big. Most of those guys are very fucking small.
But the wonderment of golf is what attracts guys because they go and they watch a guy play the hardest course at the farthest tees and shoot 8 under, and you're like, I would have shot 130, and that guy's putting for hundreds of thousands of dollars, like that putt Lee Westwood made. And then Bryson couldn't make it, so he dropped down to third. That putt was like $500,000. If DeChambeau would have made that.
They don't think about that when they putt though.
You don't think so?
They don't fucking care.
They're probably too focused.
But it was right at the end.
I know they don't think.
They just want to win. They want to get the score. Yeah. But I mean, there's got to be I
try to explain to people you have to emphasize quality or perfection at something, and then it's money.
Mm-hmm.
So many people, I've interviewed people, I've tried to set businesses up with people. We're going through it now. It's an ongoing thing. You have to manage people's expectations when you're dealing with money. Sometimes people think that they can latch onto a successful business, or you can start or help a business, and everybody's just going to make money right away. And when we get involved in that stuff, I always stop. Everybody knows this is going to be a lot of work, right? Everybody knows this is going to be work, right? Because sometimes there's always going to be that one person that thinks they're
cool. Like I was watching you earlier, and you're just like, I would love to do business with you guys because it's like I feel like you're very transparent. Like
there's no reason to hide anything.
Agreed.
If
not everybody.
If you know your true worth, you just tell people what your true worth is, and they can either like it or accept it or not.
Do you guys have a room full of like swords and like shields and like armor?
We have the dragon. What
you guys
dragon
sound
tips?
like you sound like feudal knights. You're like, there's no reason not to be honorable. Look at my collection of swords. No, look at the shield of Andor.
Perfect example, and I can talk about this. I gotta
this because go.
You're going out.
I have to go.
All right, go. Yeah,
I have a hard deadline with kids.
Yeah, John's out.
Hey, bye.
Yeah.
John, yeah. Bye, John.
I'm moving.
I'm fucking out. I'm not fucking leaving.
I'm not fucking leaving.
I'm not leaving. I'm not leaving. John's leaving.
By the way, guys, John's been losing weight. He looks great on camera. Just want to say that.
Yeah, John, you look great.
You look great.
You're gonna fight.
I will fight you.
Oh my God!
I'll fight you again. I already told you that.
That's sanctioned. That wasn't John threatening him. That was a sanctioned fight.
That's right.
Sanctioned.
I'll put your ass down, bro. See, the problem is you'll lose all that weight, right? And then you'll be like maneuverable.
More efficient.
Maybe. I'm still gonna kick your ass, John. Yeah, I don't think so. Nah, maybe not. I don't know. We'll see.
Dude, I don't even know what we were talking about.
I don't know.
You said transparency.
So I can talk about this because Gilmar's right here in this room. So when we started working with Gilmar, this is pretty much how it went down, and he can refute this if I don't recall anything correctly because that happens.
Well, wrong. You told me I'll be making $1 million in a year, so. All right, sorry, continue.
You fucking believe that shit? Dumbass.
Fucking prank. Got me, dude.
Got him in here.
Got him.
Yo, your million's coming next week again, I promise.
All right, sorry, continue.
So when we met, my wife is friends with his girlfriend. And they also worked at a restaurant that we frequented, not as much anymore. And,
see you, Jim.
Like we were sitting there one day and his girlfriend Anna. Oh my God, the lights are dark in here. His girlfriend Anna just mentioned, hey, my boyfriend Gilmar does photography. He's doing some stuff. Not sure what you guys are doing. Maybe you'd like to meet him. Me being the person I am, yeah, sure, of course. So I actually went and met Gilmar. We actually drank beers and ate pizza on a park bench along the canal.
Yeah,
got eaten by mosquitoes.
Told your wife I was Muslim.
Yeah, we convinced Ariel he was Muslim because he had like a beanie on in the summertime. Who does that?
So you guys met on Grindr? Is that what happened?
Pretty much. And we kind of just chit chatted. You know, what are you trying to do? What are your goals? What are you into? What are you good at? And I just needed to understand, you know, what is he about? And then when we started to put the podcast together, I had like kind of already had that conversation with Gilmar. Or we had already started the podcast. I don't remember. We had already started it. And then it was very easy for us. We were like committed to somebody for a couple of weeks, and then we just brought Gilmar in.
If I could just be with my wife for a couple more years, and then we'll get divorced, we'll run away, Gilmar. We'll get that. No, this is not what happened.
No, I said I wanted to hire him full time, but I didn't have. I straight up said that. I was like, I don't know what you would do full time for us.
Yeah,
I don't know. We have the construction, we have the all that stuff, but I don't know what you would do. So why don't we start with one day here or there? You hop on the podcast, we grow that, this, that, or the other thing, and then, you know, his presence, his ideas, him taking the ball with certain things just blew up. And now in 2021, we're probably, Gilmar and I and After Five are probably going to have a really great year, purely because he took a risk on the fact that we might do something someday on some business. But then he doubled down and put an amazing amount of effort into it, which showed me he was real serious, which then I go, and I'm like, well, this guy's real serious. I got to be real serious. Gilmar's putting his time in. I got to buy cameras. Or we're doing so. If Gilmar wasn't as committed as he was from the beginning of that conversation or showing what he was about, I don't necessarily know that any of this stuff would be here right now.
So
we'd probably still just be recording audio, no cameras, maybe some cameras, probably not. That it took somebody else to take that ball and run with it. I saw that. I was like, here's everything you want with that, but you have to create your own opportunities. I wasn't going to go and just knock on Gilmar's door and be like, hey, you want to be our producer? You want all these opportunities? You want to make money making YouTube stuff? So you kind of have to. There's, I don't know. Give and take in that scenario.
For sure.
So what is like the future state of is the podcast like, that's like big business talk. Like what's.
Yeah.
Like the podcast is a.
I can't really go into like
keep it surface level.
Well, yeah, not to be like cool.
You're like,
like
here's
that.
the secret plan.
Not to be cool like
here's
that.
Where
but
the
there's
treasure
still
is.
There's a lot of people involved in different things that we're doing with After Five that I can't really, and different projects and stuff that I can't.
Yeah, it's hard to say.
Or it's hard to even say. There's so much going on. To say what's going on would also be kind of.
Mm-hmm.
There's great opportunity and we're having a great time. And
ultimately,
like what's cool about it is what we're working on eventually has to come out. Yeah, like it's a production company. So
okay.
We have to produce shit.
Producing shows.
Producing stuff.
Getting clients.
No, the videography of like everything that you put together is usually pretty tight. So I only see it getting better.
Well, we started the podcast. You have to start with good audio because essentially the podcast is just audio.
Mm-hmm.
So we started the podcast from day one. We started our podcast with nice microphones. The audio, what's the thing called? Controller, I guess.
Yeah,
Control the audio thing that controls the volume and sounds and all that. And that was about it. And then I said, if we get some tripods,
real Philly.
Tripods, Tripods,
Tripods,
no pods. But we would film some episodes if we had someone cool over. If we thought one would be funny, we would do it on the iPhones, and those cameras are legit. And I will tell you this: the first 8 or so, maybe 6 of those, we messed them up. The camera died, the phone never was recorded on one side. It just was always something. And I very much realized at that point, if we were going to do this podcast, I'll keep losing it. This is my alter ego. Just keep trying to take over.
I have a hard time saying I want to say Gilmer.
Gilmore.
But it's Gilmar.
Yeah,
but I was going to be like, do you have a nickname?
No.
When I first met him, I kept thinking of that dude Gilfoyle.
Guilfoyle.
Guilfoyle?
I mean, shit.
Dude, that's how I would ask Anna. I'd come in and his girlfriend would be our bartender.
That would be
and I'd be, what's Guilfoyle up to?
Guilfoyle.
You know his name's Gilmore, right? I'm like, yeah.
Guifoyle.
What's Guilfoyle? That's
Guilfoyle's from Silicon Valley. The one coder on that show is Guilfoyle.
Fucking
real
Guilfoyle, what the fuck? He's like, yeah, I know.
Oh yeah, that guy. I like that guy.
Oh, I never watched
that show was really funny.
I think Silicon Valley is a very underrated show.
Yeah. What is that on HBO?
It was.
It was on HBO. I think that's possibly why it didn't get as much attention as it should have.
Yeah.
Because HBO only puts, unless you got Dragons.
Or The Sopranos or The Wire.
Well, I think it did well enough. I think it was a funny show. Like it was a comedy. Like think about it. It was a comedy about programmers, and it was very like kind of dude centric. So a lot of women are probably not going to watch that show. Like I'm sorry to be sexist,
Steve.
but like
don't be sexist.
There's not a lot of women.
You're allowed to watch the show, women.
Yeah, women.
You're allowed to watch.
They just,
you know, speaking of women, did you see that NCAA like locker room thing?
Oh, I saw that shit. That was wild.
I don't even know what to make of that. Everybody's trying to cancel everybody. I don't care anymore. It's like they're trying to cancel like Dr. Seuss, the NCAA. Like the NCAA is a screwed up institution, anyways. So it's no surprise to me that like, you know, that kind of stuff goes overlooked. But it's like then I'm also thinking like, why don't you just let the girls work out where the guys work out? Like why even?
Exactly. Well, what if they associated?
She's taking a picture of an empty weight room. Like, why doesn't she just go work out in that weight room?
Well, that's what I would have done. I would have been like, well, I associate as a guy right now. I'm going to use a squat rack.
Right. Like, just go.
Spot me drunk.
And unfortunately, it's like through, you know, that institution, they've like designated. So I guess people who feel like they can't stand up for, you know, I'm assuming a lot here, but like, she's not invited over into that side because it's the men's side. But I don't know. That's ridiculous. There's so many. Like today, I opened like Yahoo News, and I forget what one of the headlines was, but it was like a cancel article. Somebody was getting in the process. It was like the infant. You're like, oh, you know, someone made a big stink about such and such, and you're like, oh, well, here we go with you know, Subway's gonna get canceled or blah blah blah. I gotta remember it, but all this crazy stuff. I mean, that's essentially what it boils down to, right? Like she's putting them on the news, she's putting them on the internet. Like that's like how, you know, I feel like that's the majority of what we feast over anymore. You know what I mean? And like, granted, I was coming up here thinking about talking about a situation very similarly, or to a similar matter where it was a situation.
You felt like you were, you know,
it was your
gender was.
It was. Oh, you know what it was?
What was it?
Was it a school thing? I think it might have been.
Tell us.
Okay, so one of the things I did want to talk to you about, I don't think this wasn't necessarily it, but like my school is like sending emails out. I'm doing grad school, and it's like they're basically like putting their pronouns on their like LinkedIn's and their emails.
Shit.
What the
and
fuck?
You're like,
oh shit, that awakening.
That. Like I get
it's
that.
happening.
But like I'm never going to do that.
I had a conversation with somebody via Instagram DMs, which was foolish. Don't do
Yeah, you got to stay out of it.
I think I might have read some of that.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, I did. Sorry. Continue.
We went good. I went hard on that.
You sounded very calm, though. It wasn't...
Yeah, I was very calm and very thought out. Like, I was trying to understand what the fuck they were where they were coming from.
What happened?
Well, there were things thrown about there that sex is a like a man-made construct, meaning that like gender, male and female, wouldn't exist unless man created it. And I go, okay, well, if man didn't create male or female, what would your classification of like a dick and a vagina be? And then I kind of said something like that, and then they were like, well, you can't say things like, it was surrounding basically the argument or the conversation started surrounding this person posting their disgruntlement with a certain state taking legislation to keep high school athletes from competing in a sport that they aren't the gender in. So if you are a female wrestler and you want to compete as a male wrestler, it's illegal. But if you're a female wrestler and you want to compete against men as a female wrestler, that's completely legal. So they were basically trying to say, like, they were basically trying to prevent males from going to female sports and just dominating. And they were also trying to prevent, I would assume,
and this person
institutions
said sex
and
is a construct,
institutions and things supporting like gender changes before someone's of like a certain age. Like they were trying to avoid high schools and things, institutions saying like, hey, you're in 8th grade, you feel like you're the different sex. Like, yeah, you should get a sex change right now or whatever. So I kind of called it out like saying like, hey, do you think it's okay for someone under, 18 to get a sex change? And she made the point was like, well, I don't feel like I'm blah, blah, blah. And I go, whoa. I was a nutcase under the age of 18. You could make the argument I was still crazy until I was like 25. So what makes you think that, like, I don't know how your childhood was, but I don't think that you probably also could say that like going through and getting a sex change at that age, probably not something you should be allowed to do. Like you have to get a parent to go with you to get a tattoo. You can't drink. Like there's certain things that they're in place not because they're trying to control anybody, but just because certain people are trying to make it a little harder for you to fucking do something stupid.
Agreed.
Like cut your dick off
but
before
now
you're too old.
You're living in the realm of the insanity. Like
oh no, I very much identified that. And that's why the conversation was calm, because I was trying to identify.
Yeah, but
I was trying to see it. Like I legitimately want to know these
What's the best case scenario? You just gain more information from like a crazy person?
I just understand why people feel that way.
I just think like they not that they have a screw loose, but they have a certain way of thinking, and whether it's crazy or not, like that's just
but people with screws loose have had a lot of really good ideas. So whether or not this is a good idea.
On the internet. None of those people are posting that kind of shit on the internet, though.
No. But listen, hear me out. Like, Elon Musk has had a lot of fucking insane ideas. What if he had 100 good ideas and, like, one of his good ideas was a bad idea along the way? So I'm trying to have, like, this person has obviously put a lot of thought into their... No, listen. This person has obviously put a lot of thought potentially into what they're thinking, and they've thought too much about it. And I'm like, where did you start from on this idea? And
so you were curious.
Well,
you were curious. You're curious, Andrew.
Sometimes
Andrew's like...
He read the conversation.
Yeah.
Which he has conversation.
And he also said that he's like, you're very calm. Because sometimes you'll be like, you're very... I don't know. You just... Maybe you...
oh, no, this
But you're also like the kind of guy that would switch gears to maybe understand.
Oh, yeah.
So sometimes you're like going to die on your hill, and sometimes you come off your hill and you say, all right, let me just figure, like, what is this?
This wasn't one of those times mainly because I feel so differently, and I've learned that if I feel so differently about something, I have to first approach it with, like,
this
like
due to a recent revelation.
This, like, what the fuck are you? Oh, no, it's comedic, actually. It's not. It's not like it's like purely like I get myself into a lot of really funny situations, and I enjoy these like funny scenarios and like telling people what happened and shit. So I know that if I don't open myself up to these situations and like be cool with like, no, I'll be completely honest with you, and my wife will tell you this. Like the other day I was backing the car in, and Gilmar told this story, and some idiot in my neighborhood almost crashed into me as I was backing my new car in. I knocked on his door and told him, what the fuck are you? Like, I just went off on this dude, and rightfully so. He's probably not going to do that again. But I also have the ability to be like, hey, man, do you mind not driving like an asshole? You have to turn it up and down based upon the scenario.
Yeah, but in this particular situation,
I had nothing to gain from turning
talking
it up.
to a complete stranger.
Not a complete stranger. I actually had this person, complete stranger, before they came on a road trip and visited here and stayed with me.
Oh, so like somebody you follow, so somebody you know.
I had dinner with them one time.
Okay, but it's not a complete stranger. You're not going out and starting internet fights like people dad.
No, it was somebody that I consider intellectual.
Okay. All right, so it's someone
completely on a completely different wavelength from me, though. I would love to argue with this
that's
person,
important context.
You can't. Yeah, well, I mean, maybe.
I think so, because on the outset, I'm like, here goes Andrew again, starting fights with people on the internet. Not that you do that.
I mean, I have done that.
You are an.
It's fair to say I can't sit here and be like
you're an opinionated guy. You have an opera of like thoughts all day. Like I'm like sometimes I scroll through your Instagram like I don't want to fucking watch all this shit. And then
dude, I know that. Dude, honestly, the Instagram stories are like for me more than they are for people.
Well, it's like a cathartic thing. Like
I get the release. I just fucking say it.
Yeah, the bracelet thing you're talking about.
You want to watch it, dude? The fucking bracelets.
But I'll be like, yeah.
Stop.
I'm like, he's going off on rants, and then I'll like check in throughout the day. I'm like, oh, but just make sure what these rants are about.
But it's only like certain times. Like it's like in the morning when I'm fired up, and then you don't hear from me all day long. And then sometimes I'll get hit in the day with something. But once I get into it, like I'll go all day. You won't see me until the next morning when I get lit the fuck up by something.
Yeah.
I've learned that I just need to. I don't know.
I
don't know if there's anything I need to do. I just need to.
I always call them like
get a journal.
Almost
get a journal. Start writing it down. Stop saying it to the whole world.
Let's
go.
Like Larry
Pen and
David
paper.
moments where today I stopped at a little grocery store before I got up here, and this woman had parked. Like the front of the parking space had that concrete, stop, and that's like it should be like a half a foot off of that. She was like 5 feet back, like, and the car was like out of the white lines, and that's how she parked. It's over Washington Crossing, a little grocer right off of 530.
What in the fuck are you doing?
Right,
is this what you call driving?
So I'm saying to myself, I'm like, the way people park, like, what is going on? Like how? And that's just like a little. And if you ever watched Curb Your Enthusiasm, like what would happen is he would come out and he'd be like, "Notice the parking a little bit off." You know what I mean? And I'm like, I have these moments in my daily life. Like you go to the grocery store and you just kind of observe people or observe interactions or observe certain things that happen. And I'm like, what in the, like, I don't, but.
Yeah, one of
those
something
you
like
have
that
situations like that, and they'll manifest into your
Yeah,
Instagram.
you definitely do.
Oh, dude, they hit me. One that doesn't happen as much, but used to hit me pre-pandemic. There's not as many people at the gym now.
Yeah.
People parking close at the fucking gym.
Oh, you go off on that, dude. I would be the first one to take that first fucking spot, and if I saw you, I'd be like,
no, that's
take a suck of that.
Point. That's not the fucking point. If you pull into the parking lot,
you're like,
and you see a close spot, and you can boom, eyes, laser focus, close spot. I can get there. Easy, efficient execution. That's a clean kill. But when you circle the fucking lot 4 goddamn times, hoping somebody comes out of the gym.
I used to see it that you would
God
be like,
damn it.
I park. You were like, I park it. I would see him like, this was years ago, and you're like, I park at the end of the gym parking lot.
Now I'm mad because Dave didn't understand what I was saying, and that means I wasn't clear. I gotta make a post.
You gotta say it again, dude.
No, it's you. I would sit.
No, I get
you
it.
Can sit at the neck.
You can watch the people circle
in
to
this
get
snack thing, and you can watch these hawks. And
circle
just
up.
waiting for someone
But
to
they
come out
want
of the gym.
convenience.
Fuck that. You're going to the gym anyway.
You're gonna walk.
You're going to the Newtown Athletic Club.
I don't know what the fuck that looks like.
I work out hard there.
Yeah, I'm saying that's also a bougie gym. So it's like if
hard-ass motherfuckers.
If that soccer mom can drive around in her Escalator on the parking lot a couple times while her kids are probably screaming in the back, or she just doesn't want to leave the comfort of a warm car, like
Here I'll fucking
how
tell
these
you.
people live.
I'll tell you this scenario. This one time I was coming out of the gym, and I noticed this woman's creating an entire fucking ruckus, running back out of the gym to her car. And she had noticed a spot had opened up because there used to be, or maybe still is, premium parking spaces that I might park in and not give a fuck.
Of course, there's that.
30-year plus parking. You've been there, remember, 30 years, you get the special spot. Fuck you. So this woman comes out and she's signaling to her friend, you take this one. I'm going to move. So she came out to move her car and then was like signaling to her other friend to like take a close spot that was like opening up so that like somebody else didn't get it because there was like kind of busy on a Saturday. And she looked at me, do you believe this guy parking in this spot? He doesn't have a 30-year member, whatever fucking parking permit, blah, 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 like all this shit. And I was like, well, I guess he kind of did you a favor. Like you got a little extra warm up. And she like went completely over her head. She was like, no, this is you have to be here for and I was
these
like,
are people that have never been to the Olive Garden.
And I literally said, I've never been to Olive Garden.
Wow.
I've been to couple times.
Point made.
So all I said to her was, well, I guess if that's the biggest problem you have today, Life ain't so fucking bad.
Yeah.
And she looked at me like I punched her cockapoo in the fucking face. I literally ripped this woman's soul out. I disrespected this woman. I didn't realize how, like, I was just saying it, being hit her with a little extra spice. This woman stopped and looked at me like, how dare you insinuate what kind of problems I have?
This woman has never
my
waited
Bentley
on
SUV.
soup, salad, and breadsticks.
Probably
ever.
never.
No. Then just like I hit a chord so hard, and I was just I saw such pleasure in it that I was like, I gotta talk more about this.
I almost wonder if you're like coming up in the restaurant and like working like, you know, interacting with these people.
It was difficult for me.
You're almost like taking out these like microaggressions. Like one day you're gonna be on some therapist chair and be like, you know, Andrew, I really think this goes back to your days as in the service industry.
No, yeah, I mean it might. It's honestly what makes things funny to me also makes things like extremely difficult because I just struggle with that in between with people. I either have to come in and like know we're gonna laugh, or I gotta know it's hard to explain like how I kind of like.
It's a different. I mean, like
without getting too much into things.
Talking about the Newtown Athletic Club people. And living like up this way, like you do, and it's like there are a certain group of people, and they have their quirks, and they're like absurd, but also like flip that on its head and go to the other side, and it's bad in other ways. That
I've been to Crunch Fitness. I've been to that $10 a month gym membership, and the interactions I've had were the opposite extreme in the sense that. This one time, I had a fucking chick come up to me and tell me that she could hit me in the arm. She hit me in the arm like my veins were popping out, right? At Crunch Fitness. And she goes, I could hit that vein from across the room with a lawn dart. I'm like, well, I know I'm in fucking Levittown because you motherfuckers are the only people playing with Levittown. So I go, yeah, okay. So I go, nurse?
He was like, this babe was just trying to get my number about my veins.
No.
And I was so taken aback.
I wish I could show you a fucking picture. I go, oh, nurse? And I was like freshly broken up with, out of a past relationship. And I go, oh, nurse? I'm like, oh, I'm going to make a friend here. Got a common thing. You're a nurse. I know a lot of nurses. She goes, oh, no, I'm in med school. And I just like, I could not. I just
Dude, I did that to a woman.
No, you're not. Just this woman, the vibe she gave off, I was like, there's no fucking way you're gonna be a doctor. Like nobody that's in med school was working out at Crunch Fitness at this hour of night, coming up to people like me making lawn dart references. Like you're not in medical school. You're like you're maybe at Bucks County Community College with aspirations.
Yeah. Maybe she was
to
on
like
break.
To date a doctor, dentist.
I was at a bar one night and there was a woman in scrubs and we were watching UFC or something. There was UFC was on the thing. I didn't even know it was UFC night, but I wanted to have a couple drinks. And I was just talking to her and I was like, "Oh, are you a nurse?" She's like, "I'm a doctor." And I was like, "Yeah." I was like, "Well, I'm such a."
You should have been like, "You want doctors? He's nuts."
Well, she was a good-looking broad, but this was like years ago.
She was a
but
good-looking
I felt bad. I was like, I felt real bad. I was like, I kind of insulted because like my mind went to. You know,
yeah, but where were you though? Like you're at the union, you're at the union league, and you see someone, you're like, oh, are you in the medical field?
Well, it was more just.
But
like
if you're
so used to seeing women nurses, and scrubs weren't like different. I don't know.
But is it fucked up for her? It's kind of fucked up for her to be like rude about it, right?
She wasn't rude, but like you could tell she was just like probably had a long night and she was a little perturbed that I made. I don't know.
Doctor,
because
even though most
but like women in power, just like men in power, like if they have a certain rank, like they want to, they're like, I'm a doctor.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how she would like. So it's like, I deserve that.
I get that.
The woman spent 12 years in school. Like she should, and she probably, medical doctors. That's no joke job.
I don't know,
dude.
I don't know. The title thing to me, it used to be
when
I was younger.
Doctor.
When I was younger, it was really important for people to see me as like the business owner or the dude in charge or significant.
But academia is a different.
And now now at this point, I'd rather have buffers of significance. I'd rather have somebody significant between me.
Well, you understand every level. The value of
I'm not even talking just like in our company. I'd rather have in like a restaurant server. I want to put that expert between me and the kitchen, right? The other night we go out to eat. We sat there for 3 hours and never got our food.
Where are you like? What do you like these days? Where do you like to go?
Dude, it's so tough. I don't want to rail on this place. I want to rail on this place. New Hope Winery, their like satellite restaurant. We went there on Sunday to eat, thinking we were gonna get a little outside taco action. Woo! Not training their staff, not training anything.
Ugh.
Ariel's drink comes out. Oh, that's not my drink. I'm like, ooh boy, this is gonna be a ride. Because that drink came out like 45 minutes after we ordered it.
What?
I was like trying to
Dude,
be,
I
because we're from serving.
like,
yeah, so I was at
what
that
the
point
fuck?
when that mistake happened. I turned to Ariel and I was like, "We have 5 minutes to figure out what the fuck's going on here,
Or you're
we're
leaving.
leaving."
Yeah, that's
Straight up.
I don't,
I'm
dude. If
just
I'm
out
sitting
here.
at a table, if I wait, like, unless it's an amazing
Service
place,
industry, I'll hit you with the truth.
Yeah.
This chick comes back, and I go, "Oh, all right. So I'm gonna be frank with you. I'm not trying to be mean. I just need to know.
what the fuck
Did you
are
fucking
doing?
put our order in, or did you not?" And she goes, "Oh yeah, definitely did. You guys had the blah blah blah." Says something back to us. Doesn't read a ticket. Just like messing with all these pieces of paper. It's not our order.
But like you
Tries again. Not our
Yeah.
order. And I'm like, look, like I know for a fact our order's not in now. Like we're out of here. Go get our check. She comes back out and like goes to other tables. And I'm like, this bitch has got some balls. So I'm like, and now Ariel's like, I'm going. And I was like, you fucked up. Me and Rambo are going to be by the car. So Ariel says, she goes in there and she said, look, it wasn't the fact that you made the mistake. It was the fact that when my
She not
husband
giving a
asked
fuck
you
about that.
about the mistake, instead of you being like, hey,
It's bad training.
I gave her a lot of options. I was like, hey, I know you're not being, I was literally like, I know you're
So-
lying. Like, can you just
But
say,
that ruined
I just
your
want
experience,
You so,
and
and that was it. But going back to your question,
You're not gonna
positive
go
places.
Although the New Hope Winery has music, though, doesn't it?
Yeah, they did. It was. So
the only reason I
I'm
would
not
go.
going there ever again. Fuck that place.
They have
Fuck
some
anybody
good-
that goes there.
So there's
yeah.
this place in Robbinsville, in New Jersey, called Ravello's by Toscana. Dude, oh my god, they had like this fig pork. It was like a piece of like pork
Toscana
tenderloin.
in-
No, there's 3 restaurants over in Jersey, not like the one on Street Road. It's
Mm.
just called Ravello's by Toscana. So he has got one in Robbinsville, one in Bordentown, and then a little sandwich shop. It's Italian. This like pork tenderloin with like this fig reduction sauce
bone in.
over. I think so.
No,
He
it's
does
a
lot of-
tenderloin.
Well, yeah,
Oh,
no,
I see.
it wouldn't be.
Sorry.
Gilmar keeps me
So
fit.
Sorry.
but they do have a pork chop cut that they do this in.
Ooh.
Over gorgonzola potatoes. So like almost like a slightly boiled to par cooked roasted potato. I don't even think you do that. Probably
sounds
roasted
too much.
Dude, but it was like you get a salad, it's BYOB, you split that and you get a dessert and you're out there for like $80 probably.
Damn.
$70-$80 with tip.
Wait, and that's 2 people? That's not
Yeah.
That's not bad at all.
If you get 2 entrees and you get a couple desserts, like you could run that bill. It gets expensive, but food is so good. And I always go back to Oishi. Like I love Oishi. I love that Oishi spicy soup they have.
I do. We did
Huge
do
fan.
Oishi a lot. We just haven't. We live really close to this sushi place in Yardley.
My brother loves that place. The
Pretty Bird.
Pretty Bird. Their sushi's good.
It's
He likes it
I
better
en-
than Oishi, but
I
I like
enjoy it.
Oishi.
Yeah, the sushi's
I
good.
honestly only go there so I can accidentally run into Alex, your brother.
Nice.
Like, hey man.
Wait, your brother Alex? What, does he work there? Is he?
No,
Nah,
He's always there.
he's
You
just
should-
out in the
you-
streets.
I mean, he'll probably talk a bunch. You get him one-on-one, he's a talker.
Yeah, I love your brother.
You should. Well, I'm not.
I tried
telling
to get
you.
him on the podcast.
He said no.
I don't know if he responded.
Oh, I'll have to ask him. He's a funny guy. He's like his phone. You have to call his phone twice. He's one of those people where the first call goes right to voicemail because he doesn't want to talk to you, and then the second call actually goes through. I guess it's set up his phone that way. I'm like, that's not a bad idea.
Yeah, I think my phone's set up that way.
Oh, is it?
It might be.
It might be better because you
unless
go to
you're
message first.
Unless you're certain
Certain person.
things or certain times of day, it just doesn't. Just voicemail. I can't pick up the phone all the time.
Mm.
I don't answer people back in text messages. Some people I do. Some people I don't.
Yeah.
Come on. There's
Yeah.
I do answer back.
Yeah, you do.
It might be 18 hours later.
You
Yeah, and
texted me
I
last
get it.
But I'll
Sunday.
follow back up.
I think it
Yeah.
was 2 Sundays ago, and I was busy that day. It was like day of, but Still want to, we should get out and do the canal or something, even on like a bike ride.
Yeah, definitely.
Get Gilmore up here, man. That would be
I'm
good.
fucking down, bro.
3 of us, if going up to like making a trek, just as like a man retreat.
Backpacks, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I got a backpack.
Well, you guys do like hiking and shit too, right?
We do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would love. Dude, me and Sarah will come up and do shit like that.
Yo, my girlfriend loves to hike, so she
Yeah.
forges from mushrooms and shit.
I thought you were gonna say something so different.
Like what?
I thought you were gonna say my girlfriend loves girls named Sarah. I was gonna be like, what a dirty joke. That's so good. That was a good one.
Oh, fuck. I should have said that one. I'm saying
Oh my god, my girlfriend loves girls named Sarah. Like, what the fuck, you creepy ass shit. Yeah, but that's not the case.
Yeah, I fucking bought new hiking shoes, so what's up? I'm down.
Nice. I went to Dick's the other day to pick up like some a couple of golf things. I'm going on a golf trip in Myrtle at the end of April and some new workout clothes. I've had my same like workout shirts for forever.
Yeah,
like
same.
the last well, not forever, but like
Really, you don't
took
destroy
A
them?
while. I don't even fit them in. I'm
Dude, my shirts just get messed up.
like I had baseball shirts, right, that I cut the sleeves off of, and I had 2 of those. So I've been wearing those gym for like a year, and they just like starting to turn. You're like, I got to throw these out and get new shirts.
I will say I do wear the same.
I think it's
I
a
wear
comfort
the
thing.
same 3 shirts and probably the same 10 shirts.
Yeah.
There's a close circle and then there's a tight circle outside of that.
yeah.
But I could wear 25 different shirts, but it's the same shirt. So the company shirts we have, when we get stuff printed, I always budget extra shirts, and then those extra shirts, if I'm gonna wear the same shirt 5 days in a row, it's gonna be 5 different shirts.
Yeah.
So sometimes I think that people at the gym in the morning are probably thinking, "Is this guy okay? He's wearing the same shit every day."
That's the way to do
And
it, man.
it's really whatever I wear to work that day prior, unless it's an intense day.
I started buying the same
I'll
shoes.
literally just throw new underwear on, but I'll put my gym pants back on, put it on, workout
I like
mat,
your style. You have like
throw that in the washer, and then whatever I put on that day, that gym clothes for the next day too.
Yeah.
You know what
Okay.
you
I don't
wear
have
that
time
I
for that
like
shit.
a lot, and I had one like a couple years ago that I really liked, and I had one for a track jacket, a good track jacket. It's like such a versatile thing to wear. Like it's seasonal. Like you can work in any season.
And the track jacket says you're not a fuck boy the way a hoodie does.
You got that Puma.
Yeah.
yeah,
You
the
don't have
Puma-
that.
The Puma track jacket's
That
my
shit-
favorite.
that shit's
I had
serious.
the best Puma track jacket. It was like $75 10 years ago. It was like black and a green stripe and a green thing. But it was like a
Sounds
green,
like I would have owned it.
Awesome. I checked the Puma like track jacket. You can't get a track jacket for like $125 now.
It's absurd. I bought Ariel a pair of I tried to buy her a tracksuit.
Well, you got
It
all
was
those
in her
tracksuits
color,
when we
you
tried
know?
to start the boy band, right? They're still back there.
Yeah,
right?
dude, I'm so about the tracksuits. And
Adidas.
luckily, the jacket in her size wasn't there, so she got away with the pants. And
What was it, Cotopaxi?
no, it was Adidas. It was like on sale at it.
Oh, I fucking love Adidas tracksuits.
I was like, oh, we're gonna get a jacket here. This is gonna be stupid. Whatever. I was gonna buy it, but I was kind of interested to see what you charge over these dumb little coats.
Did you see that?
These little practically kids coats here.
Yeah, basically.
There was some article that about BOA Bank of America did some sort of like data crunch or analysis, and they determined that most people are spending their stimulus money. There's like a significant amount of the stimulus money that's being spent on like apparel and shoes.
Oh, yeah, I saw that.
Did you see that?
My-
I'm like, I always have to check my sources. I hate reading the internet and saying like, I read this somewhere. Because like, if you're an intelligent person, you have to disclaim that this is where you found it.
Oh well,
Make
this,
it what it,
this
like,
is an 80%
take it where it
news
is.
show. So everything people
Well,
we
when John was
disclose
here, he was like,
we disclose that very clearly on this show. You have to take it. You have some intelligent idiots on this show. You have 80% facts. If somebody is talking with authority here, you still have to assume it's only 80% true.
Yeah.
Even if you're sure it's 100%, just drop. Do yourself a favor, knock it down
Knock
to
it
80.
down, yeah.
So I don't want to get on this topic, but that shooting that happened in Boulder, I was at that grocery store like 3 summers ago.
You almost fucking died.
Dude,
Jesus.
Imagine.
God damn, you got out with your life.
Imagine.
We had a survivor on the podcast.
There's probably somebody out there visiting them. I mean,
Dude, so you were like
terrible.
walking through the same aisle and you were like touching the Cheetos.
Dude, I remember what we bought, man. We were going out.
Avocados.
We drive out to Boulder to meet this guy. This kid, actually, pretty cool story. Make it like a 2 minute
sounds
story.
like you're meeting a guy.
There's 3 of us. We drive out to Boulder. We meet these
It's only
guys.
cool if it's Dwayne The Rock
We
Johnson.
meet these guys in a bathhouse, and we knew it was going down. And we were like, "You guys go the gay way," and they were like, "Welcome
What?
aboard."
Wait, what?
Do you follow the rules of the road?
So we get out to Boulder. We meet my buddies.
If you have to ask how much it is, you can't afford it.
we get out to my buddy's cousin's house out there. He lives we live like a townhome with his girlfriend. It was his bachelor weekend, so we went camping.
And he's the shooter?
Yeah, he's the shooter.
Jesus.
We stayed there one night, so we drove all the way out there. We were there in like 2 days. We stayed there one night, and he's like, "We're gonna go to Telluride tomorrow." I was like, "What's Telluride? Like a couple hours away?" He's like, "It's 7 hours away." And it's in like the southwest part of the state. He knows this guy.
We're going on a trek.
Going on a trek. And it was the most beautiful thing I've ever done. Like, it was the most beautiful trip I've ever gone on. And Telluride's beautiful. So we get there. We're staying on this kid's land. He doesn't have a cabin, so we just pitch tents.
Shooter.
This kid just offed himself like 2 weeks ago. He had like bipolar.
Oh.
Wait,
Super
2
nice
weeks
guy.
ago?
Yeah.
Oh my.
Whoa.
This guy
Run
had
it back.
dude, this
Run it
guy,
back.
Rest in peace.
This guy,
R.I.P.
we made this guy. He's like our age. His father had died. He never really knew his dad that much. His dad moved to Thailand. He went to visit his dad in Thailand, right? This was like a year before we met him. His dad
and this is the kid you're visiting on the farm.
This is the kid we're staying on his land.
Himself.
He shot himself.
Okay, I'm
I
following.
don't know how he offed himself, but he offed himself.
Obviously with a gun. Go.
Yeah. Well, so he was actually, anyway, so we get there. He like pops out of like the brush because we're on this like dirt road that leads up the little foothills to the mountains.
Okay.
And he pops out and he's like, "Oh, just park there and you can come down through." And like over this meadow, I have like this little nook, like a natural surrounding of like pine trees. And we're like, we got all our bags, we got coolers, and we have to like make through like basically there wasn't like a path. It was just heavy brush and like, and after you get off the brush off the road, there's like a big open field. And then we had to walk another like 200 yards and there's like this little outcropping. And we like popped a tent there. We got a fire going. Like first night, dude, looking up at those stars with the fire. Like nobody had phones. We weren't on our phones. He starts playing guitar. We're all singing songs. Like it was awesome. And we had gone through like 7 hours of driving through the Rocky Mountains in the back of I was in a Scion TC with all of our camping shit and 2 of my buddies up front. So I'm like this the whole way out to Colorado because we drove there.
Dude, I remember this story.
Insane.
I can't believe you fucking did that. I can't believe Dave Hermes rode in the backseat of Scion TC all the way across country.
Through the mountains, dude. These mountain highways are like we were in a you gotta they tell you to like use your like downshift the car to brake and don't ride your brakes because you'll burn your brakes out. Unbelievable landscape.
Why do I feel like there's a story behind that?
Anyway, so he just this was 3 years ago, and that kid just killed himself. I mean, very somber ending, but it was beautiful out there, man. I don't know why we started talking about that, but I almost feel like it was like you know what I loved about it? It was like a retreat. Like
it's
take
because
your closest
you went to the grocery store.
Yeah.
The
day of the shooting. Yeah.
And
that's how we got on.
Dude, I got 2 types of Pringles. I got a bunch of like wipes because you can't shower out there. Bunch of water. We got all the essentials like, you know, beef jerky.
Would you give that store a 5-star review?
It was a really nice store. You know what I remembered from that? The produce was really fresh.
Maybe the gunshot wasn't.
And
oh shit!
Maybe the gunshot was the property.
Tasteless.
Sorry.
The produce was really fresh, and my buddy's like, "Well, it's closer to California, and that's where a lot of the produce comes from." I was like, "That makes sense."
Oh damn!
It was neat.
So would you probably would still give it 5 stars?
Oh, I give it like 4.5. Yeah. That grocer up at Washington Crossing, that's a lovely little store.
Which one's that?
Right by the gas station, by like I think like 532 in Taylorsville or something, or one of those. Do you know where Dominic's Pizza is?
I do.
Like right up the street. So going up
on the way to the
Newtown.
bridge.
Yeah. Yeah, but like go away from the bridge and go to that light with the gas stations.
Yeah.
There's a little grocer like tucked behind the Santander. Anyways, that's all I got.
That's all I got. Dave Hermes, he came, he dropped it. He's been to the store where there was
a shooting.
A mass shooting.
Yeah. 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon.
Fuck.
He also referred to Bank of America's BOA.
Yes. So if you stuck with us, we appreciate you.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, thank you.
I need to bring this back in here. If we were more famous comedically, I would have ran real hard with that whole story.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Gilmar was looking over at me the entire time, being like, "Don't fucking do it." He wasn't, but I knew he was like, "Oh my god, I'm gonna have to edit this shit."
Yo, we should do like a retreat, like even up at the Poconos.
Dude, I'm going straight up telling you facts right now. Ariel booked a trip. We're gonna do a bunch of trips this year because we got shafted last year.
Yeah.
The shaft. So we have an Airbnb booked. I don't know where it is. It's in the north somewhere. It's near some lakes. Finger Lakes.
Mm.
In New York?
Dude, we rented a goat farm or some shit.
Oh shit.
With goats.
Nice.
And they said Rambo can come.
Yo,
which
nice.
is facts because he's service dog, so he's coming anyway. They had no choice. So we're doing that. So maybe, I'll let you know and we can set up a second goat farm trip.
Yeah.
Or something. We go camping. We've also been talking about camping. We've been talking about camping.
Oh yeah, we have been. Yeah,
talking. We talked about it one time at dinner a week or so ago.
But we gotta talk about it again because
we did. Ariel was like getting ready to buy tents and shit on her phone, and I was like, "We already own a tent.
Yeah, you already. Now let her buy one.
We have all this stuff. Survival's our thing."
Yeah, I gotta buy a tent now. Fuck.
Yeah, dude. We got a 4-person tent, but it means 2 people.
Oh fuck.
It's weird. Tents are weird. It's like, this is a 4-person tent. Yeah,
I didn't realize you need like a blow-up mattress.
And that's not even like 2 people comfortably. It's like you had 2 people.
Yeah, it's barely 2 people.
When we were camping, my buddy had a blow-up mattress. He's like, "You don't have one?" I'm like, "No, I just brought a sleeping bag." So I was like sleeping on the ground. So I was like beating the ground in certain areas so like my shoulder could like rest in and
Like a dog.
Yeah. I had no idea.
This is why they always did that.
I had no idea what
This
to
is
do.
why Benji always dug the crap.
I get it.
Anyway, No Prisoners podcast. Dave Hermes enjoyed his drink. We enjoyed him.
Thank you for.
He survived a mass shooting by 3 years. By 3 years.
Yeah.
Give us a follow. No Prisoners on Instagram. No Prisoners pretty much everywhere. Produced by After5 Media. You know the deal. Subscribe on YouTube or get fucked.
Get fucked.